Welcome everyone to ERX Motor Park in Elk River, Minnesota for the WPS Fly Racing Terracross Halloween Bash, presented by Polaris RZR. And ERX is a great location for all kinds of racing off-road. This is Tess Sewell alongside Grant Langston and Georgia Lindsay, and you can see a little bit of inclement weather here at ERX this weekend.
Yeah, a little bit of rain going to make this track extra slick and more difficult. But before we go racing, let's have a look at the track that we have here at ERX. Something different. We're going left into a first turn, anti-clockwise. That's going to make things a little tricky for these drivers. So we go off the Optima start line into that first left-hander, then into the Sedona Tire Ripsaw Ridge, another left-hander through the Walker Evans Whoops, another left-hander into the Fox Proving Grounds, a split lane going to make it a little bit tricky, this tabletop jump, fast sweeping right-hander, and over your flyracing.com finish line. That's a lap here at ERX.
Oh, this muddy track is going to make for some challenges out here at ERX today. But one of the great things we have is a program for vets we call the Monster Energy Hero class. And for more about that, we sat down with our very own Paul Thacker.
I never really understood what PTSD really even was until I have it. I mean, there's plenty of mornings I don't want to get out of bed, and there's plenty of times when I'm angry and I have, pain that makes me do things that I probably wouldn't do. So to be able to overcome those things and be able to relay my successes to other people that are potentially not in the same position for the same reason, but like what goes on in our brains are very similar, and actually it's scientific now, which is cool. So action sports and our veterans, it's pretty amazing. And so Joe Duncan and I developed, we call it the Hero class here at Terracross, and basically I just reach out and bring in some veterans of all military branches, injured, not injured, and bring them in. We suit them up, we get them some cool new fly helmets and some gear, and we put them, they get to ride along a little with their professional RZR driver, and then they get a little bit of seat time themselves at the end of the day. This is the third year we've done it, and they have been nothing short of amazing, incredible human beings, just amazingly appreciative and thankful for what we're doing when it's really should be us that's thanking them for their service. So it's been fantastic.
Just an amazing program, and great that Paul is managing that. Well, from 2 wheels on the road to 4 wheels on the dirt, Josh Herron has come out as a rookie today, and Georgia has caught up with him.
Now we have a new face coming into this weekend, Josh Herron. Now Josh, formerly and normally you're riding superbikes on tarmac, but out here today, Terracross. What's it like been so far?
Yesterday practice was good. Today is pretty nuts having the mud and stuff. We didn't get any practice laps, so it's kind of nuts. I don't know if I'm gonna just go for it and send it over the doubles, or if I'm gonna have to lead follow. But I'm looking forward to having a good time. Hopefully we can scrap it up with these boys and be up at the front at the end of the race.
I mean, what a huge difference it's got to be for Josh, and Ashley and Darren Meese persuaded him to come out and do this. How do you think he's going to do in this race?
Well, talk about being out of your element. This couldn't be any different from being in the dry on tarmac on 2 wheels. We got mud, slipperiness, 4 wheels. Looking at the grid there, Andy Ives on the front. That's where you want to be, especially in these conditions. Alongside him, Jason Pluff. And for Herron, you see him back there in 6th position. His vision might become an issue. Green flag, and the race is off.
Wow, well, that was an absolutely great jump for Andy Ives. And you're on board right now, the Fly Racing on board with RZR Dobbs. And this is where we're going to see just how much this mud is going to play the factor.
Well, you can see at the moment, at least having side-by-side racing. So this track is allowing some passing and some line options. And you can see how slick it is. Drivers just battling to keep it in a straight line, and then through the Walker Evans Whoops. Basically 3 different lines through here, and inside, outside, and the center line there. I think probably one of your best passing opportunities on this track will be through there.
And it's great to see that we've got the width on this track. The challenge, though, is that the mud is causing a lot of these guys to lose their line. You saw it right there. Ives actually crossing in front of Jason Pluff.
I don't think that was on purpose. I think he went up the inside, got on the gas, and it just drifted out to the outside as these guys power slide through that long right-hander over the finish line, 1 lap down. And wow!
Well, you saw Jason Plouffe there. He was sideways in the air over the finish line, and it just continued.
I think that was maybe more of a slideways. Oh, and speaking of sideways, Josh Herron was on his side. Can he get that thing re-fired up without losing a lap?
Well, he's going to need to put his goggles back on. I can guarantee you that with this kind of muddy conditions. Meanwhile, Ives still leading out Jason Plouffe. Ross Robinson in that yellow and black, although it looks brown to you at home. The yellow and black machine. Robinson, he's making a run on Plouffe.
Oh, Plouffe got kicked hard there through the rhythm section. That opens the door up for Robinson up the inside, and he makes the pass. Great driving from Ross Robinson. See him ripping a tear off there. Now that he's got a little bit of clear track, he'll clear his vision and go after the leader.
And the important thing here, Grant, the tear-offs that you have in your goggles, which basically give you a clean windshield, but there's got to be a limited number of tear-offs on those goggles.
There definitely is. I'm curious if some of the drivers went with a roll-off system, and if you look, a little bit interesting to see some drivers going more with a motocross setup with, motocross helmet and goggles with tear-offs, and then some of the other drivers going with more of a traditional race car helmet with a visor, those types of tear-offs, more maybe what you would see in four-wheel flat track racing, midgets, that kind of stuff.
You can see some of these drivers, Schultz there, just being bounced all over this track because it's so hard to try and keep your line when the mud is causing you to drift sideways.
Oh! Up on the bicycle there, Jason Plouffe. Their last lap or two just not going his way, losing a little bit of ground. Some of the drivers really reveling in these conditions. Drew Schultz, he looks like he's had a little experience in these conditions, looking very comfortable at the moment.
So still Andy Ives leading out Ross Robinson. This track, I mean, you can see how hard it is to negotiate your way through it. Really well built, nice and wide, coming in through the Sedona Tire Ripsaw Ridge, but watch how steep the exit is. That is a good place to damage the front of a machine.
Oh, we've seen that being done many a time. And the other thing is when you come out of there, you're basically staring at the sky, so a blind landing, you're almost just praying that there's not a stranded vehicle, and you can see through the Fox Proving Grounds getting really bucked around are these UTVs.
Oh, and look at that, Schultz managing to pull past Ross Robinson.
We said he's been looking good the last few laps, really enjoying these conditions, and and almost saves it.
Just as you said that, Drew Schultz finds one of those outside big berms.
Yeah, he was just pushing very hard. I think the excitement of going after the leader went into that turn, just got enough traction. I think he had that vehicle buried just enough to get some of that dry dirt underneath. And in the background, you saw Schultz over on the side. They're trying to get him back on all four.
When we come back, Pro-Am RZR XP 1000 will continue with Andy Ives holding off the charge of Ross Robinson on our muddy ERX track. Be sure to come back and join us.
Terracross on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Polaris RZR. Fuel your freedom. By FlyRacing.com. And by Lucas Oil. Made in America, sold to the world.
Welcome back, everyone, to the WPS Fly Racing Terracross Halloween Bash presented by Polaris RZR. This muddy ERX track is getting ready for our halfway mandatory restart. And there you see Andy Ives leading out Ross Robinson. And Robinson trying to take that inside line, and he's managed to get himself the lead with a smart move off the start.
Yeah, that was basically a beautifully executed block pass, but Ives has not given up. Puts him on the inside before the Walker Evans whoops, but deciding to take the same line, and a little trouble there for Razor Dobbs. He appears to have come to a standstill. Hopefully he can get going again. Only driver so far out of the race, Josh Herron, went out early in this one. Not sure if that was due to the rollover or a mechanical afterwards, but a great battle for the lead at the moment.
Well, an awesome battle, and that was a very, very smart move for Ross Robinson. He comes all the way from Oregon, and we saw him out at Heydays racing at a snowmobile event. Haydays is the biggest snowmobile event in the world, and Robinson came out and had an absolutely fantastic result out there. We caught up with him earlier to talk about it.
I raced Terracross at Haydays because it's a huge snowmobile gathering, and I'm always there for snowmobile related things. So I took off and got in a car, a RZR car, had some sponsors help me out, and had a great time. Finished with a first, a second, and a third, actually. So I did pretty well, and I was really excited. And you know, coming into this one, I've got a little bit more confidence, and I'm excited. I think I can do pretty well.
You know, Grant, it's amazing the mix of skills we got here. A guy like Josh Herron, who's a road bike racer. Ross, who's really, he's a snowmobile guy, but he's taken to this so well.
Well, if you didn't notice, everything you mentioned all ended with racer, whether it's snowmobile, road racer. So when you put all these races together, they just love to do just that, and that's go out and compete and race. And I'm sure they would have maybe preferred a little less rainfall, but it looks to me like some of these guys really enjoying these conditions, just sliding everywhere, makes these UTVs nice and loose. So it's a little bit like being a drift car driver. Kind of fun out there.
So over the Sedona Tire Ripsaw Ridge, that is Drew Schultz, who was doing so well. It got himself in contention in the top 3, and then suddenly ends up on his side, and that's just the sort of thing that can happen at any moment here at Terracross.
Exactly, and then Ross Robinson, we can just tell by a little peek of the yellow on his RZR 1000, looks to have a comfortable gap at the moment over Andy Ives in that number 4. Jason Plouffe rounding out the podium at the moment. Schultz has gone a lap down since his crash. So as the laps wind down, really a battle of the fittest and survival of the fittest. The track now becoming an element. And the other thing these guys are going to be careful of is you hit too much of that slop. You don't want that muddy water going through the intake boot. That could cause real reliability issues.
So you're looking at Ross Robinson. You can see Andy Ives there taking the turn. Now, Ives has done really well this season. He knows how to win these races, and he's got to push himself. The question is whether Schultz, as that back marker lap down, is going to give him any trouble in his charge to get up to Ross Robinson.
Yeah, it might do, mainly from just the vision aspect. But the white flag comes out for Ross Robinson. Oh, he gets a little sideways coming up the finish line. Gathers it back up. See even his number plate on the side there flopping around. But these guys still able to get around there quite well at the moment. But you see through the Sedona Tire Ripsaw Ridge right there, starting to dig in a little bit. You're seeing the skid plate, the underneath of these things, starting to catch just a little bit. So he might have to carry a little more momentum. Wow, great rhythm through there for Robinson.
Well, you can see Robinson being bounced around. He's traveled a long way to be here from his home in Oregon. Whoa! And really starting to push harder than maybe he needs to. He's coming round to that checkered flag.
Hey, last lap, buddy. Just keep it on all 4. Last time through this long sweeping right-hander. What a great race. Making some great passes. Ross Robinson takes the win here at ERX in really atrocious conditions, but makes the most of it. Second place goes to Andy Ives, and Jason Plouffe will round out the podium. That's your XP 1000.
Some good racing there. Very smart on the restart to pass under Andy Ives. Ross Robinson takes the win, and he is down with our very own Georgia Lindsay.
Russell Robinson taking that first win. Now the track conditions have changed a lot. It is wet, it is slick, but what's your take on it so far just after the first race?
It's fun. You have to be smart. The way the track is places where we've been running a lot, you're actually way faster than kind of taking your own line, and you have to be smart behind guys. If you have tear-offs, you can get clear vision and just trying to figure out where the track's fast and go have fun and keep the car on 4 wheels.
Good job, well done.
Thank you.
Well, he was able to do that, and he takes the win, and it looked like he was having fun. And I'm wondering if coming from Oregon, maybe the weather up there helped us with his result. But either way, great drive there from Ross Robinson, Andy Ives in second. And then, of course, Jason Plouffe rounds out the podium, and he is with Georgia.
Jason Pluff taking that 3rd place in that race. Now, one of the most technical parts of the track, I was going to say, is probably the Ripsaw Ridge, getting the speed to get over it. How do you attack it?
Send it. Just go for it. Want to get her going.
And speed is obviously quite important to be able to, kind of get it and not get stuck on it. We've seen in practices that people do get stuck. Is that the main key to it?
Yeah, just keep a nice, consistent speed, get over it, and just try to clear it, not go too far, so you end up nosing it.
Well, best of job, well done, and good luck for the next one.
So Pro-Am racing in the books here at ERX, and coming up next, the celebrities take to the track in their turbos. More power, more excitement. Be sure to come back and join us at Terracross. Welcome back, everyone, to Elk River, Minnesota, and the WPS Fly Racing Terracross Halloween Bash, presented by Polaris RZR. Tess Sewell, Grant Langston, and Georgia Lindsay bringing you the action here. You can see our track crew working hard to keep this muddy track in good condition. Damon Bradshaw back in the race this weekend. We caught up with him earlier to compare what other sport Terracross is similar to.
For me, it's probably closer to arena cross or supercross, just on 4 wheels, because reading the jumps, reading the whoop-de-doos, and the dirt comes natural to me. Just getting all 4 tires to react the way I want them to react it's mind games with yourself, being patient, but then also being fast. And that's what I enjoy, is doing something so different than what I'm used to. It motivates you to learn, and you have to learn quick, because you want to be good at it very quick, but you kind of have to take, baby steps. And I love the concept of it, of putting, these machines into a tight, confined area. And I didn't really know what to expect when I first came, because I'm thinking, UTVs, they're wide. How can you put them in such a close, confined area and it'd be interesting? But Heydays was awesome. I know the fans enjoyed it. I mean, we could hear them over the machines.
Damon having some challenges at Heydays. I know he's looking for a much better result this weekend. Well, more celebrities on the line. One of them, I can hear the yeehaw now. Hubert Rowland. Georgia Lindsay is down with him.
Hubert Rowland, he is our favorite redneck, of course, as we all know him, but qualifying 2nd place for you, going onto this track after watching the first race, what have you learned?
I learned that it's really slippery and you just need to reserve the machine for the whole race.
I've seen that a lot of slick points in the corners, obviously due to the rain. How do you do that and change up your riding style to deal with it?
You just drive pretty cautious. You can get a little bit too whiskey and then you're done.
All right, well, best of luck, and I'm sure we're going to see some interesting corners in this next race.
Well, you definitely don't want to get a little too whiskey out there, especially in these conditions. Very easy to do that. Let's have a look at our Celebrity X Turbo starting lineup. Jim Beaver on pole position. Hubert, who we just heard from, alongside him. The Beast from the East, Bradshaw, right behind. Miller and Waskob at the back there with some racing experience. This is going to get interesting.
And again, these turbos, a little more power than the XP 1000s we've already seen. A great launch for Hubert.
And he's got the inside line, which appears to be the preferred line, and already 3 wide behind, and some carnage. Drivers facing different directions. On our Odyssey battery on board with Damon Bradshaw, he looks like he may have moved up a spot, and then, we got a situation, the 251 of Ash Waskob. Oh, and it's created just drama. Bradshaw going, where do I go? I can't go back.
Now, oh, wow, you see him being peppered with mud there. Now, that really, I think, just gave a massive advantage to Hubert, who now is racing so far ahead of the rest of the pack. Everyone being caught up there in the Sedona Tire Ripsaw Ridge.
Yeah, it's not often you'll see a lead this size on the opening lap. The one good thing that these guys have in their favor is the mandatory caution that comes out halfway, where they'll be able to reline them up, and that gap for Hubert will evaporate if he still holds onto it. On board again with Bradshaw, courtesy of Odyssey batteries. And you can tell already just bogging it down a little bit wide there coming into that turn. Probably just trying to figure out where the grip is. Since they came out for practice, track conditions have changed. So opening lap, just trying to, feel it out there.
And just the frustration for Damon Bradshaw. He had some mechanical problems and all kinds of challenges. when we were out at Heydays, and again here, just unfortunate that he got caught behind Woskop. Jim Beaver, though, the number 15 machine, is chasing him down too. Meanwhile, look how clean Hubert Rowland's machine is. That's the story right there.
Oh, and speaking of stories, once again, Damon Bradshaw, well, tightened up the belts again and took off. Don't really know what happened, but is he? I think he's off the track. Yeah, he's off to the side of the track. So it appears to be something terminal.
Wow, that is very unfortunate for Damon Bradshaw. He's really excited coming into these races. When you talk to him, you can see the fire in his eyes to get out there and race, but it certainly hasn't worked out yet. This is Ash Woskop driving that DeWalt machine. This was piloted by his friend Nate Wessel, who unfortunately got injured coming into this race. He gave Woskop the keys, said, go drive it, and he made the drive all the way here from State College, Pennsylvania.
And he's doing a great job at the moment. Doing that DeWalt car proud. You see one of the officials just checking out what happened with Bradshaw. And we're not too sure, but I got a feeling someone trackside can help us out. Georgia, what have you got on Damon?
After speaking with Damon Bradshaw, we talked about the mechanical difficulties, and for him, he did end up having a rear broken axle on the right-hand side, so he's heading back to the mechanics area to get that thing fixed for the next race.
Well, really unfortunate for Damon Bradshaw, and we look forward to seeing him back racing again. We'll get those things. The mechanics here, unbelievably, can get these machines fixed and back on the track in what seems like no time at all. But again, watching Ash Woskop, he's a rookie out here. He was a pro motocross and supercross racer, so he understands how to work these muddy tracks. But this track, I've got to say, Grant, is exceptionally hard to drive.
It definitely is, but he has been making up a lot of ground on our leader, Hubert, who had a huge lead. That has really shrunk down as Jim Beaver sitting there a little bit in a lonely third position right now. And I think you're going to see the battle for the lead starting to heat up because Woskop is the fastest man on track and closing down on Hubert.
Well, Beaver hanging on in third place now, and mud not familiar to Jim Beaver. His hometown, of course, of Parker, Arizona. But coming up, the Sedona Tire Celebrity X Turbo finish. Hubert Rowland's out in front. Will he stay there? Find out when we come back. Welcome back, everyone, to Terracross and the WPS Fly Racing Terracross Halloween Bash, presented by Polaris RZR. Our Celebrity X Turbo class on the course. Tess Sewell, Grant Langston, and Georgia Lindsay bringing you the action. But look at this. Ash Woskop has managed to get past Hubert Rowland. He's a fill-in driver for Nate Wessel, who normally drives that DeWalt Tools rig. Nate is injured. He's come all the way out from State College, Pennsylvania, and he's putting in a heck of a race.
What a great drive. We were talking about that huge gap Hubert Rowland had on the opening lap, and slowly but surely, Ash Woskop has been running it down, but Hubert not done. Well, he left the door open earlier, and that allowed Woskop to sneak it up the inside, and basically take the line away at the exit, and now problems for Jim Beaver, the man from Parker, Arizona, on the side of the track. But what a battle for the lead. This is where it happened a lap ago. Hubert left that door open, and Woskop was able to sneak through. He has just been driving at a tremendous pace the entire race, eliminating any major mistakes while carrying great speed around this slippery and tough track.
Well, amazing to see Woskop come through to take that lead. Hubert Rowland looking so dominant in the early part of the race. And again, someone who is a fill-in. Oh, and look at this. Hubert is out of the race. And we saw Jim Beaver's car earlier at the side of the track. Georgia Lindsay has managed to catch up with him.
Jim Beaver, unfortunately, not finishing that race on the 15 machine. We've seen a lot of mechanical issues. What was your main problem?
You know, it was one of those I knew I had to pick my way through today. It's horrible conditions out here, which is great for Terracross. I have the points lead heading into this round, and I don't know how we're going to shake up, but it's going to be a shootout here at the end. It looks like I lost the belt about lap 6 or 7, and it was enough to take me out. The car's in great shape other than the belt. We'll get it swapped out. We'll make a run at this championship later on.
Well, undoubtedly, the muddy conditions here at ERX are taking a toll on these machines. But Ash Waskob, well, it's playing right into his hands.
It sure is. And if you look closely, you see it on the front there, center of the grill. He actually has a cover over it that sometimes I use even things like pantyhose or something like that to allow the air to go through but not suck in all that muddy water. So these conditions really proving tough for the vehicle as
Oh, he's running off the track to get a clear line, almost running into the barricade. In front of him, he's about to lap Jesse Miller in that number 22 Monster Machine. So Ash Waskob just putting in an incredible drive here.
Well, that now puts the entire field a lap down. So between mechanical issues and just drivers struggling with these conditions, one man hasn't. He's been solid so far. Less than a lap to go. We just hope no mechanical gremlins come out. He's trying to keep it smooth, but there you get another shot at that cover that they put over the front. Sometimes I'll even use some sort of foam. Like I said, you want the air to go through, but prevent that sloshy mud, because if it's too wet, it can get sucked into the engine.
Oh man.
Jesse Miller, high centered, kind of like a turtle. Can they get him going? They're going to go backwards. He'll have it in reverse, get a little run at this. The other thing too, Tess, with these being turbos, they got so much power, it's so easy to come out of a corner, put your foot down, and then just wheel spin, and we call that going nowhere in a hurry.
So Ash Waskob, his rookie run, he comes over the flyracing.com finish line, and he will win our Sedona Tire Celebrity X Turbo race. What a phenomenal drive for him.
He was the class of the field that time around, coming from quite a ways behind to take that win. See Jesse Miller, he'll finish second, even with some of his issues. And then Hubert, not sure what happened, little trouble towards the end of the race, but still able to put on the podium.
Bunch of attrition here today at ERX, the celebrity race in the books. Our winner, Ash Waskob, I bet he has a muddy smile. He's down with Georgia.
Ash Waskob really showing the talent out there on the track. Unbelievable conditions, but you showed incredible speed out there. You must have been comfortable.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Georgia. I was pretty comfortable. It's first time in a car. I've never been in a Polaris. I do have another machine, but I think I'm going to have to get one of these now because it worked awesome. The DeWalt Black Rifle coffee machine worked excellent out there today.
Now, we saw a lot of bumps and grinds going on with yourself and Hubert out there. He ended up retiring from the race. Do you think that was something to do with the coming together of you two?
I sure hope not, because it's going to be make him angry with me, because he's an awesome guy. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here. From him building the tracks and designing, so I sure hope not. But my machine, I think it's limping a little bit too, so I think we're all going to have to head back to the garage.
Well, good job. Well done. Thank you.
Yeah, it appeared just a little bit of accidental contact there. You saw a little puff of smoke coming off Hubert's wheel. That may have been what ended his race. But the man who finished in second place, even with his issues, Jesse Miller, is down with Georgia.
Jesse Miller taking that second place. It was survival out there. A lot of incidents, mechanicals, and so much going on. But the main thing was keeping it on four wheels, which you did, and taking that second place.
Yeah, I was happy to just finish. This is my first race ever, and just happy to make it through the end.
Now, being your first race, I'm sure there were a lot of nerves coming into it. Did you expect a second place?
I absolutely did not expect a second place. I was pretty nervous at the start, and for the most part, all the way through.
Well, congratulations on your first race. Well done.
Thank you.
Well, great race for some rookies here in our Celebrity X Turbo class. But coming up, the pros. It's the big leagues with the Odyssey Battery Turbo 1000 race. How will they handle this muddy track? Find out when we return.
Terracross on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by TerracrossRacing.com. Affordable entertainment television. By E3 Spark Plugs, born to burn. And by Lucas Oil, made in America, sold to the world.
Welcome back, everyone, to ERX Motor Park. Not quite sure what's going on there. WPS Fly Racing Terracross Halloween Bash, presented by Polaris RZR. We've seen some fun, muddy racing here today, and I think the drone is the only thing that isn't covered in mud because it's flying above it all. Coming up, the Odyssey Battery Turbo 1000 class. Sitting on pole position is Cole Coutu, and Georgia Lindsay has caught up with him.
Cole Coutu, now you are qualifying in first place going into today. I know the track conditions, they're mucky, they're slick, they're wet, but what have you learned from the previous races on what to tackle and how to tackle it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to get out front early here and run these first 5 laps really consistent and smooth and try not to make any mistakes and try not to get behind anyone and get roosted, and then come out swinging the next 5 laps and hopefully can walk away with a win.
Best of luck. Thank you, Cole.
It is kind of surprising how sparklingly clean he looks right now.
Yeah, well, we won't see that for too much longer, even if he is out front. But at the moment, pole position for Cole Coutu. James Hill joins him on the front row. See the rest of the drivers there. And then for Lucas Olsen on the back row there, some work to do, but we've seen it. Cut out the big mistakes and be smart. Stay out of trouble. It can be done. Green flag about a wave to start this race.
Oh, James Hill did get a nice launch right off the line, but then having to brake hard for that first left-hander.
Yeah, you saw the vehicle sliding. Oh! That was a bit of a wild one there. You saw Cole Coutu almost off the track, and that's one thing you don't want. 2 wheels on a jump, 2 wheels off. It can send you flying. But anyway, speaking of flying, he flies straight to the front.
Well, Coutu manages to somehow just get himself from the brink of disaster into the front. Jason Luberg in that #1 machine. This is a guy who can win any day. He builds the tracks. He knows how to race them, and look at how he forces himself past Coutu, and I think Coutu's off to go race somewhere else.
Yeah, that was aggressive but clean, and we've seen Luberg. Saw him at the previous round at Heydays. Man, he showed us tremendous amount of speed. Sometimes an issue here or mechanical there has prevented him from winning, but look at that pace and already just stretching it out. And unfortunately for Coutu, when he got sort of pushed to the edge of the track, sort of a little understeer, went off into the swampy section, and then losing another position to Hill.
I have to say, though, I'm really surprised at how little track he lost to James Hill, even after driving off the side. Oh, another problem there, slamming into the backside of that double for Cole Coutu. He's having a rough race, but he's still hanging on to 3rd position.
Oh, and then now Luberg, he runs wide almost on the track. Oh, he's got a bent A-arm underneath there. You can see the damage. That wheel not looking healthy, and that leads to a rollover. That wasn't so much driver issue, more of mechanical. You can see the trail arm bent. Yeah, just a little too much weight, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to finish this one.
Well, the track team will get him back on all 4 tires, but I think at this point you have to expect that this will be the end of Jason Luberg's day. And yeah, no way that thing is going to carry him around this track. So James Hill is now your leader all the way from sunny California to rainy Minnesota. And there's the story there on Jason Luberg.
Yeah, that thing's pretty well bent, and well, it appears he doesn't want to give up on this one, or maybe he's just trying to get out of the way. So wow, opening the door for James Hill. He is now your leader through all of this as he tries to navigate around Luberg, who is exiting the track with that bent tie rod. So hey, you can't say there hasn't been any action with these treacherous conditions. I think it's created more drama than we could have ever imagined.
Right off the start of this race, you can see guys flying everywhere. We've seen it all the way through the day here with every race, that really the mud on this track becomes the story. James Hill now leading out Cole Coutu. And Coutu, this guy has had a real challenge with this track. We caught up with him before the race to talk about the track conditions. Let's hear what he had to say.
Yeah, track conditions this weekend at ERX Motor Park are pretty wet. It's rained all morning, rained last night, so hopefully you can get out there, and it's gonna be a muddy one, but it'll be, we're gonna have to brake earlier and just be more cautious. You know, we're gonna be sliding around, and you know, gotta be smart, because if we forget to brake, like as if it was dry, we might not stop, and we might slam into people in front of us, break something, you never know, so.
Well, at the moment, everything seems to be going A-OK for him. Having a look there, that's the 914 of Lucas Olsen, still holding on to the lead. The Odyssey battery Turbo 1000 will continue. Will these guys be able to take it all the way to the finish? We'll find out when we come back.
Welcome back, everyone, to WPS Fly Racing Terracross Halloween Bash presented by Polaris RZR. We're here in a rainy Elk River, Minnesota, and the restart of our Odyssey Battery Turbo 1000 class underway. James Hill leading out Cole Coutu.
You see Hill there with his visor up off the start line. I wonder if he's having some fog issues, because if he gets past, he's going to have to flip that down. On board our Lucas Oil shot here with Lucas Olsen. Hey, Lucas camera for Lucas. Nice little touch there. Oh, running wide is the 991 of James Hill, and he surrenders the lead. I don't know if anything's bent there, but I think the big benefactor out of that one may have just been, it's a little bit muddy, trying to see.
No, it looks like actually Lucas Olsen managed to pass Cole Coutu. Oh, and there it is. Hill stopped in the middle of the track. And this, what a turn-up. Lucas Olsen. Olsen has actually been a fill-in driver a few times this season already. He's the lead mechanic for the Terracross series. A great driver, lives down the road from ERX, and here he is leading our Odyssey Battery Turbo 1000 race.
Wow, he looks good doing it at the moment there. Made the opportunity when he was presented right in this section a lap ago. And you see off to the side James Hill, and it looks to me, yeah, you can almost hear something clunking in there. Might be the transmission struggling to find a gear. These conditions, you can just see how sloppy that mess is down there. The track crew barely even able to get around this place.
And the problem there was he'd actually pulled onto the middle of one of the lanes of the track, so it looks like he got moving, but obviously a terminal problem there for James Hill. And meanwhile, Lucas Olsen out in front, that 914 machine, putting in the laps. Like I said, a fill-in racer over a couple of races, and he's definitely showing himself as the class of the field right now.
And also not a stranger to racing at all. He comes from racing four wheels, but basically on the ATV side of it, a motocross ATV racer in the past, so this man can get it done in all conditions. And now problems for Cole Coutu, high-centered on that ripsaw ridge that we've talked about. Drivers, you know, every now and then you want to just roll off a little bit, and if you catch that skid plate, can high-center the car, especially when the ruts start developing, meaning the dirt on the front and the backside starts getting spun out from these very powerful machines. But no such troubles for Olsen out in front. That will now put into second place Mark Notman, as you see the 21 of Cole Coutu pulling off the track. Not sure if he's just trying to get around there or if there is an actual problem.
Well, unfortunate for Coutu getting stuck there on the top of the Sedona Tire Ripsaw Ridge exit. Good news though for Mark Notman. So Olsen and Notman, first and second in this race, both had careers racing four-wheelers, and I think probably used to some of these conditions, not afraid of the mud.
Yeah, if you've done any sort of a GNCC event out in the woods and that, you've certainly encountered some conditions like this, probably even worse. So maybe not a complete surprise, but hey, still tough nonetheless. White flag is out for Lucas Olsen. One more lap. He's got a comfortable gap over second place, but no gap is safe on this track.
Well, no gap is ever safe in Terracross, and if you look at it now, Lucas Olsen almost a minute ahead, but we saw Cole Coutu got stuck on that exit, and it almost happened there to Olsen. So you can be robbed of victory at any point.
Without a doubt. You can see just backing it off a little bit, not taking any major risks, keeping it smooth. Probably feeling like the longest lap of this race is usually the last one when you've got a comfortable lead. Nothing to be gained, but everything to lose. Couple more corners. This long sweeping right-hander, and Lucas Olsen might have surprised a few people, but he will take the win here at ERX.
Well, big surprise in our Odyssey Battery Turbo 1000 class. The local guy, Lucas Olsen, manages to take the win over Mark Notman and Cole Coutu. Great driving for Olsen, and we'll catch up with him when we return.
Terracross on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Polaris RZR. Fuel your freedom. By Sedona Tire and Wheel. And by Lucas Oil. Made in America. Sold to the world.
Welcome back, everyone. We know the Seagulls are enjoying the rain here at ERX. This is the WPS Fly Racing Terracross Halloween Bash, presented by Polaris RZR. And I think the scariest thing about Halloween would have been the track here at ERX today, Grant.
Oh, definitely so. As we take a look at our podium results, a great win there for Lucas Olsen. Actually won by quite a convincing victory. Mark Notman coming in second. Two guys with experience in these conditions. Cole Coutu is on the podium. James Hill and Jason Luberg have a little bit of trouble. But let's send it down to Georgia, who is with our winner, Lucas Olsen.
Lucas Olsen taking the win in that insane race. But first off, I want to talk about how big you went on the Ripsaw Ridge jump.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah, well, you're probably talking, I think Cole Coutu was in front of me, and I restart, you got to kind of keep on it. I'm trying to get past him, and there's a car in front of us. All I saw was sky. I thought I was going to go over, and I landed. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in like second. And then by chance, I got a good line through the rhythm section, and I ended up first.
Rhythm section, it seems like it is quite tough over there. It's kind of like whoops, do you double, do you single? How do you get through it?
The way I've been doing it is just roll the first couple and just double, double, double out. But that last double is pretty tricky. It's really, really sticky right there. A couple times I got up on the bike, got up on the front wheels, thought I was going over there. And I see all my buddies telling me you got a big lead. Then I started slowing down, then I'm making mistakes. So, I mean, it was a good race.
Well, congratulations taking the win. Well done.
Thank you.
And what a fantastic line he managed to take there through that rhythm section. Really made all of the difference. Second place today from Mark Notman. And I think that one was very hard fought for. He's down with Georgia.
Mark Notman taking second place. Now, there was chaos. There were a lot of mechanical issues, but then also people rejoining the race. Did you have any idea of kind of where you were in the standings?
I kind of had an idea. It was hard to tell. You know, there was guys dropping out, like you said. Got bad start both times. Second time, I was all right, and went over the first tires, and the car stalled, so I had to wait for it to restart. And just kept plugging along, you know. Everybody was dropping out, so as long as you finished and, you know, stayed moving, you're good.
Well, it seems like you got your biggest fan right behind you taking pictures right now, Jamie Luberg. Did she give you some tips while you were out there?
Yeah, she was out pointing me lines on the corners and stuff, so it helped out a bunch. Appreciate it.
Well, good job. Well done.
Thank you.
What great racing, and I got to say the move of the race has to go to Lucas Olsen. Through the Walker Evans whoops, went from third to first, never looked back on this tough and treacherous track.
Well, the track was tough and treacherous, but Terracross has the machines to handle it. We hope you enjoyed the racing out here at ERX today. I know we did. For Grant Langston and Georgia Lindsay, this is Tess Sewell saying, hope you had fun. Please come back and join us for more Terracross racing.